How long does it take to a pump foiler or dock starter to learn the flat water paddle up? In this video, we're gonna find out just that. In case you're new here, my name is Gael and I've been pump foiling for more than 3 years now, consistently for little less than 2. And I just needed a new challenge. So I got myself a board, thank you Ketos, and a paddle. We're gonna talk about gear in a second, and I just got straight into it. I didn't even watch YouTube videos. I just got addicted from the feeling of downwinding with the foil drive, and I wanted to downwind with a paddle, and it just seems so cool to me to be able to start from anywhere in any condition and not even needing a dock. So I just got straight into it. And this video is not going to be a tutorial, it's just really going to be sharing my first 2 sessions and giving you some little tips from beginner to beginner. And yeah, if you stick until the end, you'll actually see if I managed to start and lock in, secure the flat water paddle up within 2 sessions. So let's start from the gear. I'm using here a Ketos Downwind 8.4 board. It's 18.5 inches wide and it's 112 liters. When it comes to the paddle, I got a Black Project Foil X, and it's probably a little too long. It's like 183 and I am 178, 179, so it's probably a little long for me, and the blade is M. Probably I'm gonna chop it a little bit just to make it a little shorter, and maybe in the future I'm gonna get a S blade, I'm not sure. And when it comes to the foil, I'm using a Mast, really stiff Mast from Ketos, the Ultra 2. I'm using a pump foiling front wing. It's a 1580 LD. It's 1580 square centimeters, 138 span, and 12 aspect ratio. And then I'm using M Fuselage, so something medium kind of, and a pretty small and thin stab, the 135 knife, which I personally love to pump with. Now, these were not my really first times on a paddleboard and using a paddle. I'm not an SUP foiler or I'm not a supper, I don't know how you call them. I've never done any stand-up paddling really, but I tried the SUP foil from this friend George, and I didn't succeed, of course, right? I just struggled. I could barely stand on it, and also the reason why it was probably so hard is because I was using an axis board, and it's like 16.5 inches wide, so it's a bit more unstable than this one. So it was pretty hard for me to get started. And then of course you kind of have to get used to it. So let's say that before these 2 sessions with this gear, I had, let's say, an hour in total of experience. I probably did 4 sessions, like 15 minutes each, just because again, it wasn't really my gear. So let's say that I could stand on the board and I could paddle kind of straight when I first got this gear. And that probably sped up the process a little bit. So now, tips. The first thing is, I would say, the foil position and the foil size. For sure, get a big foil, not only because it's gonna be easier to start, to actually paddle up and then pump, but also because the bigger the span, the more stable the board is in roll, right? So that's gonna help you also stabilize when you're actually still on the board and not on foil. So that's the first thing. Second thing, don't cheap out on the mast. That's really important. Don't cheap out on the paddle, and don't cheap out on the board. Again, to share George's story, he started off on a F1 board. It was like 7.0 and like 20.5 wide, and probably 109 liters. So an old, kind of like mid-length, you would call it now, board. And he struggled like hell. He was also using a normal stand-up paddling paddle and an Eagle 1290 from F1. So really not the right gear to learn the flat water paddle up. Maybe if you're good, you can have a good fun with that gear in downwinding conditions, but really he struggled like hell. So if there is something that I learned from him, is to get the right gear right away, and actually also transferred this learning, this lesson from pump foiling. So invest in gear because it's gonna save you a ton of time. So yeah, that's why I got myself this board, this paddle, and I'm using this foil. So that is the other thing. Now, when it comes to the actual technique and stuff, don't try and paddle up right away. Just take your time to get comfortable on the board, to learn how to paddle straight, and to have an efficient stroke, and to not splash around when you paddle, and to be stable when you paddle, to learn how to get speed before you even engage your legs. And one thing that I was doing wrong that was kind of preventing me from managing to paddle up, yes, I can reveal it now, I managed to paddle up actually at the first session, but again, just because I had a little bit of experience and I knew how to pump already. And I would say that I'm fairly fit. So what I would say is, like, especially if you're coming from pump foiling, just forget about your legs, because your legs know what they have to do, but your hands probably don't, right? So if you have a pump foiling and stand-up paddling background, it's probably gonna be super easy for you. But if you only have a pump foiling background, for example, just forget about your legs and forget about pumping for a second, and really just try, almost try and paddle up without your legs, right? So break things down, separate the movements, and try and paddle, get the paddle first, and really engage the foil just by paddling, and then you add your legs. Because otherwise, you're probably gonna get to a point where you engage the foil, but you don't have enough speed because you didn't generate speed with your paddle, so you're gonna stall because, again, you're gonna engage the foil too soon. So don't start pumping too soon. That's my first tip. And also because if you start pumping, you're also probably gonna increase the cadence. And if you start pumping and increase the cadence right away, then you're gonna burn yourself out. You're gonna be gassed out after 5 seconds. So that is the other thing. Then look forward, just like with dog starting, look forward. If you look the nose of the board because you are sinking the nose or something, if you look down, you go down. No two ways about it. Then the other thing I would say, focus on keeping, of course, the paddle straight. Focus on reaching as far as possible. Use your legs, right? Bend your knees more. I wasn't bending my knees enough. And breathe, focus, relax. All pretty much the same tips that I've been giving when it comes to pump foiling are actually relevant even with the paddle up, all right? And the biggest thing that probably I want to give you, if you are coming from no background or maybe wing foiling, this is gonna be really, really hard, right? Again, I want to share George's story because he was really struggling with his gear, and also because he was a really good wing foiler, but he had never pumped. And then last winter, we spent together a lot of time pumping with the foil drives. And because of that, early this season, he got the paddle up pretty easily because he got himself a bigger foil, a better board, the axis, and he managed to paddle up also because he had the pumping movement. He was a good stand-up paddler, so he had a good stroke, but he didn't know how to engage the foil with his legs. So you need both. So if you don't have one or the other, you need to work on one or the other. In my case, I didn't have the paddle movement, so I had to learn the paddle movement before I actually combined the two movements. He didn't have the pumping movement, so he had to learn how to pump before he could learn the paddle up, right? So these were pretty much my tips. So it is definitely possible to paddle up at the first session or second session if you have a solid background into pump foiling, especially because I believe that learning the leg movement and the leg timing takes a little longer than learning the paddle. So if you are coming from a pure stand-up paddling background, it might take a little longer. If you're coming from a pump foiling dog starting background, might not take that long as you are fairly fit, because like I said, this is another layer of difficulty, right? Pump foiling is pretty much technique and focus and consistency. Here, it's consistency, technique, and also fitness. You need to be fairly powerful and you need to have a decent stamina. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot do it if you're not a 3-hour marathoner. Absolutely not. I'm not a good runner, but you need to be fairly healthy, let's say, right? So that helps for sure. So yeah, I hope that this video was somehow valuable. I hope that I kind of inspired you in trying something new and eventually get into downwinding as well. If you have any tips, please drop me in the comments, because again, I'm fairly new, so I'm pretty sure that I'm really bad at it, and there's gonna be plenty of people watching this video better than me, so please feel free to drop comments. All right, thank you, and I'll see you in the next one with the recap of sessions 3 and 4. See you.